start getting into the thick of it. So we're going to start with the topic of depression. Now, one of the things that drives me insane is the word unhappy. People without depression consider their unhappiness depression, and people who have depression refer to their depression as being unhappy. So let's add a little vocab to this conversation so that I can explain. So one of my favorite words in the English language is connotation, which is the context in which a word is used. So the word unhappy has a lot of different connotations, everything from freezing cold to scolding hot. And I'm going to share some examples, but before I do, I just want to put out there that none of these names reflect an individual. So Anne is unhappy because her mom passed away. Barrett is unhappy because the ice cream truck wouldn't stop. Carol is unhappy because her therapy dog is in the vet. Derek is unhappy because his father beats him every day after school. Evelyn is unhappy because she lost her favorite pair of earrings. Frank is unhappy because his parents are getting a divorce. Gertrude is unhappy because she's being sexually harassed at school. Harriet is unhappy because her parents and siblings died in an accident. Ingrid is unhappy because her best friend betrayed her. Jake is unhappy because he couldn't get a date for prom. Kelly is unhappy because her mom verbally abuses her. Lily is unhappy because she stained her favorite shirt. Malcolm is unhappy because he had to work instead of play. Nellie is unhappy because she, a high schooler, has to bring in the money for her whole family. Olivia is unhappy because she got a bad grade. I know that was a lot, but I wanted you to be thinking about all the situations in which unhappy could apply given the different connotations. So here's the deal. When someone's dealing with depression says they're unhappy, they know what it means. But when someone else hears it, they interpret the word the way they understand it, which I believe is part of the reason why others don't receive the weight of the situation when someone dealing with depression says that they're unhappy. This term causes some to mistake someone's circumstances as an unhappy because I stained my favorite shirt, rather than an unhappy because I'm being sexually harassed. So these may seem like little small things, and it may sound like I'm nitpicking, but they can mean the difference between someone getting help and someone getting brushed off because their words were misinterpreted. So if someone tells you they're unhappy, then ask them about it. And if you want to express your unhappiness, then explain it. So going into a conversation may be difficult, but it really could make the world of a difference to somebody. Depression is not a sin. Now that's probably one of the two most controversial things that I'm about to say. So here's the second one. I've heard a lot of people react to those struggling with self-harm and thoughts of suicide and depression as them not believing in God enough or not having enough faith. So here's the thing. God is a God of hope, life, love. And that hole that society fills within itself, that they try to fill with earthly pleasures, is actually where God's supposed to be. But here's the catch. Sometimes even Christians struggle with depression. But how? If you know the God of all peace, how could you be dealing with feelings of hopelessness and overwhelming distress? Well, there's several ways to get to that point, and that brings us to the different types of depression. So the first type of depression is major depression, which results from being depressed over a long period of time. And the, remedy to that is therapy and medication. There's also persistent depressive disorder, and that's depression that lasts 2 years or longer, and you may treat it with psychotherapy, medication, or the combination of the two. There's also bipolar disorder or manic depression, and this is mood episodes that range from extreme highs with energy with an up mood to low depressive moods, and most people have to take medication or go through psychotherapy. There's also seasonal affective disorder, also SAD, and that's a period of major depression during the winter months, and light therapy or medication could be enough to fix that, and it normally goes away during the warmer seasons. So psychotic depression, they have symptoms of major depression along with psychotic symptoms such as hallucinations, delusions, and paranoia, and a combination of antidepressant and antipsychotic drugs are needed to treat that. There's also peripartum postpartum depression, where women have major depression in the weeks or months following childbirth. Medication can help with this. There's also the premenstrual Dysphoric disorder, or PMDD. Women with PMDD have depression and other symptoms such as mood swings, irritability, anxiety, trouble concentrating, fatigue, change in appetite or sleeping habits, and feelings of being overwhelmed at the start of their period. Antidepressant medication or sometimes oral contraceptives can treat. There's also situation depression, also referred to as a stress response syndrome, and it occurs when someone is having trouble managing a stressful situation in their life. And this can be helped through psychotherapy, just talking to somebody and being able to relieve some of that stress. I would just also like to point out that if your parents are getting a divorce or have gotten a divorce, it is not your fault. Period, exclamation point, end of discussion. It is a decision that they are making and you are not the problem. It is not your fault and you are not to blame. There's also atypical depression, and it describes a pattern of depressive symptoms where a positive event can temporarily improve one's mood along with antidepressants. And that's probably the form of depression I understand the least. So just want to be out front about that. As humans, we all go through periods of feeling down, and that's normal. What's not normal is being sad most of the time and having it affect your day-to-day life. So, depression can be treated though, whether it's through medication, talking through a professional therapist, or even some lifestyle changes. Some types of depression are caused by circumstances, while others are caused with chemicals in the brain. And I think that that's where we get caught up, I know a lot of people that haven't dealt with depression personally, but they've just kind of seen people. It's easy to assume that somebody's depressed because of a circumstance, and they just need to be happy, they just need somebody to help them get to a place of happiness and they'll be fine. But some people's depression really is chemicals in their brain causing them to be depressed. So no matter how much, happiness they might feel or might be presented to them, it's not enough without the medication or talking to a professional therapist about what's going on. That's, my first kind of spill on depression, and we'll get into some of the warning signs.